city has turned on a sparkling evening for this inaugural Cook Cup clash between Australia and England, the 20th Test match meeting here at the Sydney Football Stadium. It's a beautiful night. The ground is in superb condition and the crowd is building up to around 40,000 people. Well, the Cook Cup was launched during the week at the Sydney Harbour Casino by the two captains tonight, Bill de Glanville of England and Australia's great lock, John Eales. Joining me in commentary tonight will be Simon Poitevin. Yes, that was a special occasion. It's a beautiful piece of hardware, and I'm glad you're not entrusted with looking after it.
Yeah, it's a very valuable bit of work, that one. But this England side tonight, 12 British lines, a fantastic back line. Very big guys out there, three close to 100 kilos. A terrific back row in Hill, Ladalio and Rodber. These guys scored 15 tries during the Five Nations. Australia had to fight every way for the points.
Well, the Australians arrived. They had a tongue lashing earlier in the week, Simon, from Greg Smith. But they've trained very well. They've been here at the Sydney Football Stadium. They know they have to do it tonight.
Yep, it's been a tough week for them. They had a day off yesterday. I'm sure they've used that to focus on tonight's game.
OK, let's hear from the Australian camp, the manager, with Chris Handy.
You're comfortable with favouritism for tonight's match?
Well, I think we're probably the favourites most times we play in Australia, except probably against the All Blacks. So the great thing about coming here is that we're the crowd favourites. So it means a lot to the guys. They're back home. They've got their families, friends. You know, it's fantastic. So you know, we're looking forward to it.
Good luck, and we look forward to it as well.
Thanks, Chris.
Wallaby manager John Mackay, the England team, they're staying at the Seaside Resort, Manly. Beautiful spot at the Manly Pacific. And their coach, Jack Rowell, there's been suggestions that he's really under threat tonight. Graham Henry, the Auckland coach, has been interviewed for the England job, Simon.
Yeah, well, certainly Rowell not a man to take a step backwards, and there's been a lot of heated discussions the last couple of days as the English delegation returned from New Zealand.
Well, there's the odds from Centrebet, and certainly the bookmakers think that the Wallabies are a big chance to take it out tonight. 6-1 on, 7-2 against, 14.5 points start for the England team here at the Sydney Football Stadium. So the entertainment is really in full glare at the moment. We're building up to the 20th Test match between Australia and England in rugby union since 1909. The two sides met here in 1991. We'll see spectacular pictures from the Whitman's lightship tonight, hovering across the Sydney Football Stadium, and you'll see a real bird's eye view. Well, it really is a spectacular scene. We're getting close to about 37,000. They're coming in late here at the Sydney Football Stadium. But of course, our man down on the touchline really wants revenge tonight, because I was alongside him at Newlands in Cape Town, World Cup quarter-final in 1995. And Chris Handy, it was excruciatingly painful, wasn't it? Very bad memories for you.
Well, Gordon, like Shane Warne's spitting finger, I'm salivating at the opportunity of getting square with the Poms. Rob Andrews' field goal in the World Cup subjected any Australian supporter to a barrage, a real mouthful from the balmy army of supporters. But tonight, Australia haven't got to worry about the scoreboard. They've got to get right facets of their game that were exposed last week against New Zealand. And the grunt up front is what it's all about. And I'm really looking forward to that. In the backs, Australia appears to shade them. But there's been a few changes. And have a look at this, the head-to-head, and you'll see what I mean. Up front is where it really counts.
The only uncapped player on either side is New South Wales prop Cameron Blades. At fullback, Matt Burke returns from injury and opposes Tim Stimpson. On the right wing, Ben Tune lines up against Nick Beale. At outside centre, Jason Little is back from injury to face Nicholas Greenstock. First full cap for James Holbeck at inside centre against Bill de Glanville. Left wing Joe Roth takes on the aggressive John Bentley. The two fly halves are Aussie vice-captain Tim Horan and former South African Mike Catt. At scrum half, live wire George Gregan and the cheeky Matt Dawson. Two big men at number 8, Troy Coker and Tim Rodber. Open side flankers are Brett Robinson and the impressive Richard Hill. Blindside flankers bring together Daniel Manu and Lions hero Lawrence Delalio. At lock, Wallaby skipper John Eales opposes the bulky Simon Shaw, while Garrick Morgan wins a test recall against the grafting Nigel Redmond. Wallaby tight head is veteran Ewan McKenzie against Leicester strongman Graham Roundtree. At hooker, Michael Foley wins a recall against British Lion Mark Gregan, while Cameron Blades makes his test debut against Darren Garforth. Simon, we've had a look at the Wallabies building up to this game, and they've trained very well. George Gregan didn't get a lot of protection last week, but they seem to be pretty focused for what has to be done tonight.
Well, one man in particular, Garrick Morgan, their number 4, has got a huge night ahead, and Brett Robinson playing at open side tonight. David Wilson out of the side, so he'll have a lot of work to do, but he'll do it well.
Well, Ewan McKenzie, the tight head scrummager for Australia. That was a bit of a nightmare for the Australian scrum last week, but they've done a lot of work. They've really beefed it up.
Yep, Ewan McKenzie, the only survivor. In comes Andrew Blades and Foley at hooker. It's a good side, and expect a tough game early on, but I think they'll eventually get up by some good margin.
Yes, and I think we're going to see a bit of these outside backs for Australia today. We saw Joe Rock, Jason Little as well, and Sam Payne, of course, the reserve. But England, it hasn't been easy for them. They've come from South Africa, the majority of their side. Some of them arrived early last week, but they've had a good preparation, and there's a great spirit. They really believe in that English rose.
Well, certainly got plenty of fitness under the belts of these guys. 12 British Lions playing the side. The rest of the side toured Argentina, finishing about 3 weeks ago, and there's one of the stars, Richard Hill, who was fantastic for the Lions in South Africa recently.
Yes, and I think the Lions and the England players would really want to do it for their coach, Jack Rowell, but there are 12 members of the victorious Lions party here for their starting lineup tonight, and one of the characters is John Bentley, the right winger. He made his test debut against Australia back in 1988. Since then, he's gone to rugby league, 3 Great Britain rugby league tours. He played for Balmain in 1994, and he was also the chairman of the Lions Entertainment Committee in South Africa. Meet John Bentley of Newcastle, England, and the victorious British Lions.
It's something you can't buy. You know, it's something that when we came together on May the 12th, we all came obviously from different paths, different walks of life, different nationalities. It's fantastic what happened in South Africa, but that's gone now. That's part of history.
After touring Australia in 1988, Bentley turned his hand to rugby league, scoring 159 tries in 9 seasons for Leeds and Halifax.
I like entertaining. I like being in the shop window, and the way I look at it, I mean, I'm a professional player now, and I'm playing a game that I've played since I was 7 years old, whether it be rugby union, rugby league, it's sport, full stop, and somebody out there is daft enough to pay me.
A former police officer from West Yorkshire, this all-action dual international dismisses claims that England won't be mentally prepared tonight.
Tell you something, we'll all have that red rose on the breast there, and that'll be enough, you know, for any player who wears that. You know, so everybody will give 100%, of course they will.
So what chance that John Bentley will be starring in the shop window tonight?
I promise you one thing, everything I always do is I always try 100%. You know, I always try 100%.
Yes, well, just over 15 minutes to the break. He'll be a handful tonight for Big Joe Rock. Should be a great clash, that one. So we'll take a break now, and after these messages, we'll be meeting the flying doctor, the orthopaedic surgeon for Australia, Brett Robinson. Back shortly. Anyway, one of the key men in the Wallaby team tonight, Simon, will be Brett Robinson. He's wearing that number 7 jumper for the first time in a test match. He's taken over from David Wilson. The Wallabies very close now to taking the field here at the Sydney Football Stadium. There's Michael Foley coming back into the side. He hasn't played for a couple of months. That's going to be a big ask for him, and also Garrick Morgan, Simon.
Yeah, Foley be okay. And it's unusual to see the Australian side inside. The English side have been outside warming up.
Well, the two coaches are certainly under plenty of pressure. Let's hear their final words.
Tonight's match is a really vital match for Australia. We have to reorganise things. We can only do that through an impressive performance. We're playing against a team with a lot of British Lions players in it. Their morale will be good. I think ours will be better, and I think we'll do it.
Well, England have substantially come from the South African continent where they've been playing for the Lions. So the psychology is totally different, as well as the venue. Thereby, the game against Australia this time, given the preparation we've had, is a bigger challenge than usual. But if England are going forward and want to be one of the top sides in the world, we've got to make these journeys and do well.
And what a great scene here at the Sydney Football Stadium. Members of the 1947-48 Wallabies, captained by Bill McLean, and then Trevor Allen being showcased to the crowd here tonight. We'll be back after these messages. Yes, what a colourful pyrotechnic display here at the Sydney Football Stadium. It's Australia versus England for the Cook Cup, and it looks as though we're going to be pushing up towards 40,000 for this 20th international between the two old rivals. It really is a great scene here, Simon Poitevin. Australia, the raging favourites.
I think the crowd are looking forward to a very exciting, expansive game tonight. As I've said before, I think this English side are underrated. They've got a battle-hardened side. They've got a very classy forward pack and a very competent back line.
Well, Chris Handy, we're about to see the England tide take the field. Here they come now, led out by Phil de Glanville.
Great team, this England side. They're trying to emulate feats of others before them and really fire up on the field. Some missing from the team, but it's great to see them here at the SFS.
Yes, well, certainly Martin Johnson, the Lion skipper, was injured and didn't come across. They're also missing Jason Leonard, but it's pretty well a full-strength forward pack apart from those two crucial guys. So England takes the field here at the Sydney Football Stadium. They return for the first time since 1991, and there's a terrific support for the mother country here tonight. Tim Stimpson, the big dashing fullback, and there's Graham Roundtree, member of the famous ABC club from Leicester, the front rowers. But looking at this England side tonight, there are 9 members of the team that met the New Zealand Barbarians last year at Twickenham, 8 who played against Wales in the last 5 Nations game, and there are 12 in the starting lineup from the victorious British Lions tour of South Africa. Nigel Redmond played his first test against Australia back in 1984. Matthew Dawson, he was a legend on that Lions tour, a magnificent try in the first international, and he's going to have a terrific duel tonight with little Georgie Gregan. But there's Simon Shaw, the big number 5. He is 207 centimetres. He's 6'9", and he'll be marking this guy, John Eales. So it's a much bigger, bulkier Australian pack. The selectors realise that they need to match the size of this England 8th. Australia outweighs them tonight, but the crowd support is pretty good for the Wallabies, who really want to rebound from that humiliation at Lancaster Park in Christchurch against the All Blacks last weekend. Here's the Australian lineup. 7 changes from the side that was humbled by New Zealand in Christchurch. Matt Burke returns after injury. A brand new centre pairing of Little and Holbeck in the pack. Manu displaces Wilson. Garrick Morgan also back at lock. And 2 new front rowers, Michael Foley at hooker, and the debutant Cameron Blades. There's James Holbeck from the ACT Brumbies and the Randwick Club. He's a country boy, schooled at the Armidale School. And another guy, Chris Handy, Garrick Morgan. What a big game for him tonight.
It is a big night for Garrick. He's got the headgear on. He's ready to play. How long he stays on, well, that's up to the big man himself.
So the two sides now will line up for the anthems. There's Joe Roth. Haven't seen as much of him as we'd like, but tonight I think you'll see the Australians really moving it to the expanses, Simon. They want to play a wide game.
Well, it's a subtle job out there for Jason Little tonight to get Tim Horan to get that ball wide. Timmy's a pretty conservative player. Pat Howard was there to get the moves going, so Jason Little's got to take that role tonight.
Well, you've got no more experienced man in the Aussie backline than Jason Little. This crowd just waiting in expectation now of what should be a great spectacle between these two sides.
A great start for Australia tonight. The under-21s, the Australian side, beating England by 27 points to 7 in a very special game.
Yes, not too many spare seats in the house tonight, and I don't think we've heard singing of the anthem like that, Chris Handy, since the Lions series back in 1989 here.
Right down close, it's just fabulous. And look at that reserves lineup. You'd have any of them on the field.
Austin Healy, the reserve scrum half. Jonathan Slightholme has come in for the injured Tony Underwood. And Paddy O'Brien from Invercargill in the South Island of New Zealand, rated by many now as the #1 whistler in world rugby. He really has been in super form this year. Lawrence Dallaglio, James Holbeck. The stage is almost set here at the SFS.
It just shows you how good that English back row is to leave Ben Clark on the reserves bench. One of the past stars for the England side. One thing missing, the ball. It's coming onto the field now.
Yes, well, Paddy O'Brien, he made his test refereeing debut for the Hong Kong-Korea clash. But he's done a couple of Five Nations games and 7 test matches in all.
You right?
#1 ranked in New Zealand, Mike Catt, to get proceedings underway here in Sydney. So England running towards the Randwick end of the ground, taken by Eales. So immediately they splinter the England pack. Foley there, 10-metre line.
Stay back, stay back.
Gregan now. It's Ben Tune charging onto the ball. Daniel Manu really having a go. It was Hill the tackler. Michael Foley into Redmond, who may have turned him. Australia just controlling possession. Here's Bentley. Showing good composure. And we're down inside the quarter, just 15 metres out. John Bentley, the leading try scorer on the Lions tour of South Africa with Underwood.
The Australian forward pack have had plenty of the pick-up and drive during the week. And the opening sequence here, using it to great effect.
Good use of the ball by the Wallaby forwards. Nice to see them on their feet. Plenty of leg drive, a lot of power in the middle, but this is important, this line out.
So Regan now. Beautifully taken there by Redmond. Yes, he made his test debut against the Wallabies at Twickenham in 1984. That's Alan Jones's Grand Slam tour.
Turnover. Let them all down.
So the ball was up off the ground, says the referee, and a vital mistake there by the England forwards.
Yeah, it's a serious mistake by the English. The Australians now with the feed. And Tim Horan can let that back line go. Australia, huge weight advantage, 903 kilos. They were 875 kilos last week in New Zealand.
A moment of truth for Cameron Blades on the loose head side. That shaved head, ready to lead forward. Michael Foley urging him. Darren Garforth, the tight head that took the Argentine scrum apart.
So the referee having problems there. The Australians not wanting to get crouched. The Australians, they'll get away with it because England, in trying to move that ball quickly, have knocked the ball on.
Well, we've seen this opening sequence, the English side lacking coordination. They've got to try and work it out quickly because they've got the Australian side on the boil.
Australians just edging ahead.
Stay back.
Controlled by Coker at the back. We're on the quarter line. Horan standing close. Here comes Holbeck on the angle. Up to the quarter line. Manu arrives with Gregan. That's John Eales. Garrick Morgan supports. They go short side to Horan. Burke's in. Matthew Burke. Rock. Great tackle by Dawson. 5 metres out. McKenzie arrives. Scrum feed Australia. And we've had just 3 minutes of play.
Jeff Brown in the stands, but Australia very lucky there. Joe Rock had the ball on his body. And if the referee had seen it, it would have been an English feed.
So it's Garforth against Cameron Blades. Australia now through Coker and Gregan. Horan sandwich, Rodner's there. Coming back for Gregan again. Here's Coker. Showing good strength, 5 metres out. Came quickly for Gregan, here's Rock. Weaving his way through. That's the goal line ahead. 4 on 2, Horan. Try-saving tackle. Coker saved the day. And the England players ruled offside. But Horan looked to be there. But a magnificent covering tackle stopped the 5-pointer.
Horan backed himself here. Had to go for the line, and well he might. But dropped short in a beautiful tackle. Coker on him in an instant. And this is going to be the success of this Wallaby side. The support man getting there quickly. If you're going to take it forward, you've got to have support.
Aussies off the scrum. Really got the big forward packet there. Why not use it? This is good stuff.
5-metre scrum here. So we are having problems in these early scrums, Chris.
Yes, Garforth is struggling a little bit. Cameron Blades settling in. Got to be allowed to get his grip up on. It's a good sign. There's plenty of competition right at front. Nice straight back from Cameron Blades.
Yes, well, plenty of gamesmanship. We'll have to listen to the referee here. We're in your hands, Chris.
Well, in the referee, just listen to what he says.
Only one has been what I said in there, all right? You wait until I say engage. I am now past the point of no return. You understand me? Thank you.
Well, that's a good sign because that settles down any early tension. It puts the referee in control. So now both packs settle down. Let's get all the ratty stuff out of it.
Australia went in too quickly there. They just went straight in before England could get down, so just a little over-anxious, and England off the hook.
That's a decisive advantage handed over to England. They won the free kick and now have given it back.
Catt's kick has gone straight up. Still in the field of play is Burke. So they've taken it up to within 10 metres of halfway. Australia in possession here. Horan. Little knock to the ground, but the referee said it was harmless. Stimpson. He recovered very well. Daniel Mano looking for the quick throw, but that was a fine clearing kick, 12 from halfway.
Rucks and balls, well, as the advantage to the Australians. Stimpson couldn't make the Lions top line up in South Africa, but was a top point scorer. Nigel Redmond with the skull gear on there, protecting the head.
So Michael Foley hasn't played a full game for a couple of months, but he's been training very hard and he's very hungry tonight. Great throw to Eales there. Here's Horan. This is Little. They're nicely over the advantage line. 35 metres out. Gregan works it to Horan again. Just so the Englishman may have been offside.
Great balance from Horan that time. Difficult ball to take up, having to thread his way through the offside English players. Paddy O'Brien had asked for the onside line.
So we've had 7 minutes of play, and John Eales for the first shot at goal.
7 o'clock Sunday, a special heartfelt episode of Home Improvement.
My dad what?
He didn't make it. The most watched episode in the US.
You're saying all the right things.
Enjoy it while you can. A must-see Home Improvement, Sunday on 7.
Well, Simon Poitevin, it's been a very positive start by the Australians. They've dominated the first 7.5 minutes of play, and now a chance to translate that pressure into points.
Well, they copped plenty this week from the press and the public for the performance last week in New Zealand. And they've got a steely pride about them tonight here at the football stadium.
John Eales. Jason Little just running behind him there. And Eales has pulled it. Now, I'm just not sure whether that was a wise move by Little, just running behind the kicker as he's about to move in. It could have distracted his concentration. It's a miss. England survive. Still 0-0.
A lot of pressure on this man during the week, saying that the national coaches shouldn't do longer than a 4-year term. This is an important one.
Catt goes high, Rodber coming through. England come away here. Good work there by Delalio, one of the stars of the Lions' triumph in South Africa. Here's Catt. Roth was waiting for it. Knocked back. Here comes Burke. Roth, who played fullback against South Africa last year, shows that he knows how to handle the ball when it goes to foot. We've seen him score some magnificent soccer tries this year for the Brumbies, and we're now only 15 out.
Well, this is a really important game for Joe Rock. He's lost a lot of confidence the last couple of weeks. He didn't play well with them during the French series and had an ordinary game against the All Blacks in Christchurch, so huge one for him.
Some suggestion, Simon, he's not all that well, but they can't put their finger quite on it, but he certainly hasn't been himself in the last week or two.
Gregan towards the back, beautifully taken by Delalio. So very good skills there from the big men for England. Dawson pumping it up the touchline. And that's a lovely clearance, taking play to within half a metre of the halfway line.
Yes, this English back row, Delalio, Hill and Rodber performed so well for the Lions in South Africa recently.
Yes, they were just mighty. Rodber didn't play in the third test. And there is Garrick Morgan, timing his jump beautifully. Coker drives up. Redmond tries to stand his ground. 8 metres into England's territory. Referee playing advantage. He's Roth. He's through. 2-on-1. Matthew Burke. And Australia gets the first 5-pointer. Incisive work there by Joe Rock from the left wing. Beautifully worked move by the Aussie backs. Tim Horan orchestrating.
It was clinical, copybook stuff from the Australians. A good line out and the drive by the forwards. And then the ball unleashed the back line. Tim Horan gets the ball out to Joe Roth. And Roth feeds to Burke. Isn't it good to see him back in the Australian team? And he cruises across in the corner.
Welcome back, Matt. The work had been done. Roth through the gap. Go, you good thing. And Matt Burke outside to finish off, stretching out confidently and still tune up his sleeve in support.
10th test match try for Matt Burke. Well, that really was superbly executed move by the Aussies. They've signalled their intentions. They're really going to take England on out wide tonight. And they certainly cut them to ribbons that time. Does that make a difference when attack's going forward? Metres in from this touchline. And Eales just not striking him well. It's 5-0 Australia.
Matthew Burke.
So Mike Catt with the restart. Morgan and Eales were there. England have it. Rodber reacted extremely well.
There's the 2 knock-on. Play in here, fellas. Running it, go.
England again not able to get hold of the ball. A couple of knock-ons there. And Australia with the feed 35 out.
Plenty going on in the front. Just listen to the referee. He's got his hands full.
Stay off it. We can't get down. Right, back off. Back off. Engage. Get it in, Hart. Get it in.
Australia getting a good engagement on there. This is a much bigger pack.
Stay off, Hart.
The 12 from halfway, going straight up the centre. Gregan. Grab it through by Burke. Stimpson. Off an Australian. And a line out just short of halfway.
Referee Paddy O'Brien playing advantage there. English offside as they go the quick throw.
Thank you.
So the lines had been formed there, the 2 line-outs, so the quick throw wasn't allowed. Mike Regan displaced the long-serving Brian Moore as the England hooker, Tim Rodber. Nicely off the top. 10 from halfway.
Paddy O'Brien not falling into the ways of Ed Morrison and referring to the players by their very familiar first names or nicknames. He's got his hands full.
Well, Paddy O'Brien's a very understated referee. He doesn't do as much talking as the other leading whistlers. and I think that really does stand him in good stead, but he's a very good manager. The players are in no doubt as to where they stand. Catt going ahead here for Greenstock. Roth was waiting. Halfway line. 3 on 2. Big charge by Coker. Gregan, quick ball here. Here's Stimpson, trying to keep the ball in play. But from outside his quarter, he's kicked it out on the full. Shall we come right back for the line out? 26 metres out.
He's a big fullback, Tim Stimpson, and I think he should try and chance his hand with running the ball more often than kicking. This time it's a very difficult angle. He's about 98 kilos, this guy. He should have a go.
Not thrown in straight there by Foley. So England will have a scrum 15 metres in. The score is 5-0 in favour of Australia. A try to Matthew Burke. And we've had 15 minutes of play.
Now we'll see the energy in this Australian scrum as English can get their first put in. They're very stable on their own ball.
Dawson then working to Catt. Oh, that's not a great kick. Catt's hurt himself in that tackle from Daniel Manu. Burke follows. Dawson. Back to Catt. Taken by Blades. That was a good driving tackle by the loose hand. Cameron Blades very focused in his first test match.
Well, going back to that last scrum, I don't know why we've got 3 back rows with their heads up there. Troy Coker in particular should be getting his strength into that scrum.
Very important. Mike Catt injured there. See him twist his left foot as Manu came over the top as well. Didn't help.
Catt's recovered pretty well. England wheeling this one. Controlled by Coker. Here's Gregan. Spotting a gap. Good support from Coker. He goes over that quarter line. Delalio the tackler. Gregan now and Horan. His little lovely pass to hold-back. Burke. Some slick work by the backs. Timing wasn't quite right, but they get the scrum feed.
Nice to see the ball getting moved wide there, and James Holbeck had a big season with the Brumbies at outside centre and doing a good job tonight at inside centre. Comes round for the loop, gets hold of that ball, and finally offloads.
So the Australians enjoying a 5-point advantage after 17 minutes.
Hold in. Yeah, hold on. I'll get a signal.
Well, there's been a touch judge report here. And Steve Walsh has adjudged that George Gregan used his boot on an England player, so he's been penalised. England trailing 5-0, and we're now up towards halfway.
Well, trailing 5-0 and ruck and maul count, running 15-2 in the Australian favour. Not surprising considering where the game's been played.
So Delalio has a bit of a blood problem at the moment. Chris Handy keeping an eye on that one for the substitute. Tim Rodman. Hill taking it up. Australia pinch it. John Eales. Hill the tackler. That's Manu. Here's Ewan McKenzie. Australian backs are eager here. They get it quickly too. Holbeck. He took on Greenstock. And comes back nicely for the Wallaby backs. Horan short side. Shows his strength. Gregan. Little in a fly half. Here's Manu out wide. Big crunching hit there by Rodbar. Gregan almost sneaking his way through. 38 metres out. Horan in the scrum half. Matthew Burke, the first receiver. Australia just controlling at the moment. Morgan. Garforth coming in. Little coming back inside. Taken by Delalio. Cameron Blades. Gregan puts up a tester. Ben June. 18 metres out. That was a mighty take by June. Australia control it again here. June in the fray. He ran into a brick wall there in Dawson at Rodber. Dawson hurt in the tackle. England has a good line. Horan inside. Rodber again. He's getting through a mountain of work.
No more, it's fun only.
Well, the Australians in the first 5 or 10 minutes against New Zealand last week turned over about 3 balls. Tonight, the ball retention is fantastic.
That's the difference. I think the whole key to it is no mistakes. And this guy, Ben Tune, looking to get in concentration, diving in and then strongly retaining the ball amidst a fair bit of attention from some of the English defence.
Quite a spectacular clean out there too from George Gregan once the tackle went to ground.
They would do well, though, to give Roff and Tune a chance to get into the game early and get carried away too much.
So Matt Dawson, former centre, England under-21s. He toured with the England A team to Australia back in 1995. So he's a very versatile little sportsman.
They scored that beautiful try for the Lions in the first test against South Africa. And here's the hit. Sandwiched. Let's hope he stays on. Territory at this stage, Australia has had 86% of the territory advantage.
Daniel Manu standing out as first receiver from this scrum. Interesting innovation. So this is one of the backs has gone in to join the scrum. Probably Ben Tune, I would think, on the far side of the scrum.
Again, some trouble getting the ball into this scrum. Australia really keen to take it forward. Ben Tune down there on the side.
Well, he's been tackling like a flanker, Chris.
Great to see them involved. Brendan Moon similarly was one of those players that loved to get involved. Terrific.
Big attacking platform here for the Wallabies. Free kick. Gregan plays on. Coker through the dummy. Got away from Rodber. It's Foley. Robertson now in support. Just 10 metres out. Gregan again. Tells the forwards to take it up. Horan wants it. England pilfer. But the referee says number 5, I think it was, so I'm not sure was offside. And Australia within kicking range here. Horan coming up.
This is a lot of pressure on John Eales, and we were talking before about this choice of kickers.
So Australia still looking for their first successful shot at goal. Being on top of the ground here, Simon, and really have England been in the Wallabies' half.
Well, the Australians hanging onto the ball in a big way tonight, but the English side have to work out how they're going to get that ball back to give themselves a chance at scoring points. No use defending all night. It's not much fun.
John Eales had a session here yesterday with his goal kicking. That was more like a goal swing. The rhythm, the style and the timing were there. He's happy, and so are the Wallabies, who are out to an 8-0 lead. Well, it's been an absolute domination, both possession and territory, but that territory is up around the 90% favouring the Wallabies so far. England have to get the ball and hold on to it. We've seen a couple of little handling errors from them. They've also kicked a little bit of possession away as well, but now they have it. Catt. Greenstock's outside. That was a wild pass. And the referee says no advantage for England. Looks as though Australia may have knocked on from the kick-off.
And Dawson's not looking good there. I don't know that he's going to stay on the ground too much longer.
They haven't looked comfortable when they've had their ball. England, they've really struggled. Everything seems to be rushed. They haven't yet been able to settle. And again, Australia have kept at them and at them, particularly in this phase in the scrum, not giving an inch, taking that scrum forward, not being prepared to take a backward step, and it's a good sign.
Darren Garforth is pulling every trick in the book out here, Chris. The Leicester tight head prop from Bob Dwyer's very successful Leicester Tigers.
He's very experienced. And now you'll see him bind up on, but there's plenty going on here. Cameron Blades will know all about it. He's a big mother.
And he's a very fit, strong man too. No one works harder on the waist than Cameron Blades.
Get on!
Rodbar, familiar sights. He's taken it 10 metres ahead. This is a good build-up for England. That's Garforth. One of the Australian players hurt there in that tackle. Stimpson, barrel.
Big hit from George Gregan. He's wiped Stimpson as if he's been shot out of a cannon.
Georgie Gregan looks like a cannonball launched into him. Great stuff. He's just... Garforth took it up the short
Troy
side.
Coker down there, Chris.
Yes, Polak's Coker.
So the scrummaging, you can hear the referee talking to Steve Walsh saying we've got to sort this scrummaging out.
The medal's on me.
But, there's been a little bit of pressure on the England front row so far.
RPC 7. RPC 7.
Morgan won it well. His holdback. Pass was behind him. England put him under pressure. Here's Gregan. Tune in and out. Intercepted by England. They're 6 metres short of halfway. Another penalty here for Australia against England for being offside.
Forward, number 3, offside.
And it's against Darren Garforth.
These turnovers are costing England dearly. Ball lost, and then that player judged to be in front of the man who lost it. Now they are punished even more.
You can see the difference between a side here. Australia has had 3 very hard test matches, have combinations, against a fairly disjointed English side with a lot of big names out there.
Yes, the England side really struggling for some cohesion at the moment. And that's understandable. Big jump by Coker. Daniel Manu over the corner. Catt the tackler. Gregan. Horan. Great hands from the Aussie backs. Roth. 3 metres to go. Holbeck's there, so is Gregan. Here's Foley. Michael Foley. Look at the line here for the Wallabies if they can get it out. England cut through to spoil. Prepared to concede a professional penalty there. Australia had 6 men standing out on the right. England killed it.
Australian bench looking on eagerly. Paddy O'Brien got plenty to work out. He's trying to teach them angles and where they should be entering that ruck ball situation for him. What he's saying is you can't enter it from the side. You've got to come from behind the your last man.
Now, Simon, what about this shot for goal here? Australia ahead 8-0.
I don't think it's a particularly good idea from John Eales, and the crowd didn't like it. Australia's got to play New Zealand in 2 weeks' time in a gigantic game in Melbourne. They've got to use every opportunity to work out their attacking combinations. Forget about the goal kicking and see the tries.
Well, Joe Roth with another big bust and the strength. Just tackled 3 metres short.
Great view of that move setting up from above. John Eales would love to be able to push this one through. Settle down.
Those powers of concentration written all over his face. This to put Australia into double figures after 28 minutes. Coming back, but not good enough. So England still hanging in there. Australia has dominated the half, but they have just 8 points to show for it.
The bookies giving 14.5, 15.5 point start. There's a lot of money piling onto England during the week, especially from Hong Kong.
Forwards for England underneath this one. Coker did well. Benchune, Gregan. It's Gareth Morgan with the headgear. 30 metres out. They coughed it up. Dawson with a cheeky little kick. A very good one. Here comes Beale. So Nick Beale really keen to get into the game. Very clever player in the England World Cup winning 7 side in 1993 at Murrayfield.
Punished for the turnover. England capitalised and really got some territory. Now they've got to be able to capitalise on it and put pressure on the Australians when not in possession. And that typifies a good team.
Well, a bit of obstruction, but Australia comes away with it. It's Cameron Blades again. Gregan doing a lot of refereeing himself. Holbeck. Greenstock. And Catt the tacklers that time. Holbeck. Holding on. Well, this is a disappointing situation for the Wallabies because they've had so much dominance, but England, if they get this, will be just 5 points away.
James Holbeck with Brett Robinson there driving forward, and that England player has every right to play the ball on his feet.
So, correct ruling there by Paddy O'Brien. And Simon, we come back to that decision to take a penalty goal 5 metres out from the England goal line, starting to recur now on the Wallaby team.
Yeah, well, this Australian side really are on the boil. They want to get in there and they want to get physical and throw the ball around. Interruptions don't help.
Tim Stimpson from Newcastle. Leading point scorer on the Lions tour of South Africa with 111, one ahead of Neil Jenkins. And the England side is on the scoreboard finally, about 10 minutes before the break.
You've got to ask the question, if the possession and territory was more evenly shared, where'd the scoreline have been?
So Matthew Burke now with the restart. Australia ahead by 5. Dawson knocked on. And just those critical little handling errors have let England down in this first half.
This is uncharacteristic for Dawson. He just loves having a bash on his own.
Australians need to post a try here before half-time. Hill just sweating on George Gregan. Good control by Coker and the Australian scrum. They've marched at about 10 metres.
Australia will appreciate this opportunity to go head-to-head again. Plenty of scrums is what is needed.
No, they're not ready. Okay. Let's go scrum half. Stay there.
In the deep channel this time for the Wallabies. 25 metres out. Here's Horan. Cut out by Little the Tune. Here they come round. Burke. Joe Robb. That's the quarter line ahead.
Paddy O'Brien very quick to blow up those ones with players in the way. The ball goes to ground. It goes to the side going forward before the breakdown.
Good sliding defence there by the English. Shut down the Australian overlap.
So we're still 25 metres out. Tune comes in again. It's a beautiful tackle there by Dawson. Here's Eales. Now Australia go ahead. Somehow Gregan got the pass away to Foley. Delalio trying to slow it down. Australia on the right here. Gregan goes to Horan. They were waiting for him. Rodwell will try and hold him up here and turn it over. And he's done it. Australia probably went the wrong way there. The England defence was waiting for Tim Horan. And a vital turnover.
Tim Horan shakes his head. They had plenty of time to organise. They were dominating the ball and then just ran into this wall. Rodman very, very smart.
Well, Australia really has to take every moment. The longer England just hang in there, the more confidence and rhythm will come back to them. Australia ahead by 8 points to 3. They scored the only try in the game. It came after 10 to Matthew Burke, playing his first Test match of 1997.
Right, don't come over there, just wait there, wait there. No, wait there, wait.
Yes, the big Four Nations Under-21 tournament. Australia, New Zealand, South Africa and Argentina getting underway very shortly here in Sydney. Should be a fantastic tournament. The Australians downing England 27-7 tonight in that Under-21 curtain raiser. Ball controlled by Robert and Dawson. And Stimpson. And that's a cleverly controlled kick. And England finally into Australia's territory. Jack Rowell and Les Cusworth, some of the brains trust of the England management.
Nigel Redmond's doing a very good job out there for the English side, getting through, spoiling Australian ball, disrupting this quick flow to the back line.
Australia go to Eales at the back. Here's Morgan really wanting to have a charge. He made 7. Gregan. Manu. Killed the tackler. Assisted by Garford. Now on England's side of halfway. 4 minutes before the break plus injuries. Good rolling ball here from the Wallabies. Morgan still has it. Now Gregan. Horan. Ross joining in. Not a good pass from Horan. Appeared to be a little knock on there by Rock. The referee was happy though. And we're 8 from halfway.
Yeah, he's played advantage and gone to the line out. Now let's see whether the England side, as that ball coming to Joe Roth, just dropped short from Tim Horan.
Brett Robinson marking the impressive Richard Hill from Saracens at the back.
Now there's the sort of gap you'd like in a line-out. Good couple of metres down the middle, quite different to the gap against France. David Wilson warming up on the sideline, looks to be coming on the field for Troy Koga, who's got a hand injury.
So David Wilson coming on, it looks like, for his 42nd Test match. Made his debut against Scotland and lost by Shaw. Again, just a little bit of sloppy work by England. Vital turnover. And we're, 4 minutes away from half-time, allowing for injuries.
I think you'll find that's a blood beating for Troy Koga, who had his hand stomped on last week in New Zealand by a couple of big New Zealand forwards. So he's stopped some bleeding there, and Wilson on.
Well, we've seen some great work, Chris, from the England back row so far. They've been very solid in defence.
They've been the mainstay and really been an impenetrable barrier for the Australian attack.
Gregan and Horan. Holbeck. There's Burke. We're on halfway centre field. Here's Jason Little, first receiver. There's an overlap here. Holbeck tunes outside. Maybe passed a little early. Veal. But certainly James Holbeck with an incisive thrust that time.
It's where you love to see that ball pushed right in front of James Holbeck, who had the ball in 2 hands and just got interfered with that good English defence.
And good follow-up there by Holbeck. Made the mistake. Made the tackle. Change of shorts going on here. Mr. Roundtree.
Well, at least he's not wearing a jockstrap. It happened to Lawrence Delalio. He said it was his most embarrassing moment at Twickenham. And the French ripped his shorts from him.
Let's lift that! Lift it now, come on! Speed it up!
32 metres out from the England goal line. Australia ahead 8-3. Eales at the back again. Morgan. Quarter line ahead. Australia's lost it. Referee happy. Horan. Holbeck. It's Ben Tune in from the right wing. The Rippers arrive for Australia. But certainly the Englishmen using their bulk effectively. Morgan out wide. Takes 3 men to bring him down. England's defence a little slow to regroup here. Chance. Jason Little. Good clean out by Nigel Redman. There's a good line for Australia on the left. Horan. Matthew Burke. Gregan again. Horan now. Tune. That's Foley. Eales is there. Australia knock on. They spoil themselves again. So as we close on the break, the difference is the Matthew Burke try.
No ball and hold it. No ball. No ball.
Interesting to see Australia working to that inside support player.
Are you guys enjoying that?
Different style of prop. Darren Garforth to what Cameron Blades will meet in Ollo Brown, who packs very low.
Blades packing with his arm on the ground. Here's Dawson. Block waiting for him. And it looks as though there was someone breaking early there.
I like that comment from Paddy O'Brien, the last scrum, to the players collapsing in the front row. Are you enjoying it? I don't think so, but then again, front rows are pretty strange people. What do you think, Butter?
They'd be loving it. The more scrums, the better. They wouldn't enjoy letting this pressure off, particularly closing on half-time. Lost a couple of opportunities, and it's cost them dearly.
So England just slowing the game down to their pace. Wallabies keen to get onto it, but a very professional performance here by the England pack. Tim Rodber showing why he was one of the real stars in South Africa against the Box. Dawson getting involved and having a go at Blades. This is a good drive here by England. They've marched it a good 10 or 12 metres. Catt. Bentley's in. Almost through. He didn't let it go in the tackle. Well, a terrific tackle there by James. That's David Wilson, and he's hurt that. Looks as though he's hurt that hip, which has been a problem for him.
He's in pain as well. It's a hell of an injury to try and get fixed, and John Eales obliged to go for the kick at goal because kick to touch is not going to assist with that half-time hooter already gone.
So John Eales then with this penalty shot, which would give Australia a bit more respectability, allowing for the possession and territory dominance. But it's just not reflected on the scoreboard, and that's the worry for Greg Smith and this Wallaby team. England have never won a test match here in Australia against the Wallabies. John Eales, 50 metres out. Straight out in front. This would give Australia an 8-point lead. Has he got the distance? It's falling short. And the mark is called by Tim Stimpson. Well, I'd say England would be very pleased with this situation. They've really hung in there. They've snuffed out a lot of dangerous Australian attacks. And we've seen that magnificent back row really come to the fore. There's the half-time whistle from Paddy O'Brien. And the crowd just a little frustrated here. They expected more. But England have done superbly in that first half to hold the rampant Australians. The Wallabies ahead by 8-3. We'll be back after the break. Matthew Burke with this 5-pointer in the 10th minute. The difference on the scoreboard, Australia ahead by 8 points to 3. There's the marvellous scene from the Whitman's Lightship. A big crowd in here at the Sydney Football Stadium tonight. Australia really dominating that first half, but certainly it's a spectacular scene from the Whitman's Chocolates Lightship tonight, but not so spectacular for the Wallabies on the scoreboard, Simon Poitevin.
No, a huge dominance of territory and possession by the Wallabies, but look, the IBM stats and the ruck and maul count is huge in the Australian favour there. Fly halves, Tim Horan's had plenty of ball to use. The English defence has been outstanding, but the Australians just aren't finishing that vital part of a movement, and that's where they're falling off in their tries.
OK, well, starting with the big game at the MCG, a live telecast, Australia-New Zealand on July 26th. And isn't it nice to see a dry surface here in Sydney? We've had a lot of rain over the last 10 days, but a very big crowd in, pushing up towards 40,000. And there's the magnificent twin stadiums here in the Moore Park complex, Sydney Football Stadium, and tomorrow the Sydney Swans take on Essendon in the AFL as the Wallaby side back out onto the field. And the Australians ahead by 8-3 at the half-time break. And just looking through their lineup, Chris Handy, has Troy Coker come back out?
Well, Troy Coker, I can't see him back out as yet, but David Wilson was worried about the hip injury that he got as he dived on a ball early. And John Eales talked to Matt Burke coming off the field, and I would see Matt Burke doing the kicking as England now return not all that far adrift.
Certainly, and had John Eales have kicked all of his goals, the Wallabies would have been up by 19 points to 3, which certainly puts a different reflection on the scoreboard. As it is, they're under pressure with just a 5-point lead.
I asked Greg Smith what he wanted in the second half. He simply said more points, which I think was quite to the point itself.
So Garrick Morgan, who is slowly going to work his way back to peak fitness, a status where he was ranked one of the very best in the world in his position. But England right up there at the moment. They're in this game to their eye teeth. They're trailing by 8-3. Simon Poitevin, what have the Australians got to do to put their stamp on it in this second term?
Well, they're going to continue to get that energy going in the second half, and they've got to have patience to make sure that last pass finds a hand.
So Matthew Burke with the restart. He's kicked off, so it looks as though he may take over the goal kicking. John Eales wasn't happy with his rhythm.
And Matthew Dawson onto the England good, and replaced by Austin Healy.
Yes, Austin Healy, another member of the Lions touring party. And his kick has taken play to within 8 metres of the halfway line.
Austin Healy's got a heap of speed, so Australian back row will need to watch in the IBM stats there, and we see the dominance of the first half, possession and territory by the Aussies.
Yes, he came on as a replacement against Ireland, so Healy gets his second cap for England. That was not very straight at all. That one way over on Australia's side. So Michael Foley, just a little bit rusty, and remember he hasn't played for ages.
He's following the footsteps of Marco Caputo. One of the reasons he was dropped. Ruck and maul count, outrageous. So Foley, if he's going to stay in this test team, he's got to pick up his throws. Can't afford these mistakes.
The Australian scrum really wanting to have a bit of go at England, but very good technique from the English eights.
Well, you can't do it with all three back rowers with their heads and their shoulders up in the air.
So here's de Glanville. He's hardly seen the ball, the England captain. I think that's the first time I've called him with the ball. To Shaw. 8 from halfway. He sets up well. Garforth. Good tackle there by Jason Little. Catt. De Glanville again. He threw a dummy. Not a good decision. Manu the tackler.
England really looked as though they struggled. The ball came their way. Didn't have anything on. De Glanville bringing it back inside, but just not anything organised. And this is one of those signs.
What are you doing?
Daniel Manu down injured, and Matthew Burke is going to kick for goal.
That was an interesting ruling. The referee decided it was still a tackle situation, so the Australian player was entitled to pick it up, and the man in possession, de Glanville, had another go at it while he was on the ground. So the back row not there that time for England, and this gives Australia a great attacking opportunity. And we've
buzz coming into the crowd. Love to see a try here. Australians splitting their line out again.
Hold there. Got to go in the middle.
David Wilson way back.
Yeah, hold. Got to go in the middle. Come across a bit. Goal, come down.
So he's actually calling the Wallaby players closer to the line of touch. John Eales. Cameron Blades came in. It's David Wilson. It's only 7 metres out now. That one's locked in. Australian scrum.
Collapse more.
Build up. So we're 7 metres out. A collapse more, says the referee.
Tim Rodber did really well defensively there. Stopped the first wave.
Wait, no.
Then the English pack forced the mistake.
Coming in.
So not packing square on there, Chris, seems to be the ruling against the Australians.
Yeah, that's one for the book, the Paddy O'Brien saying not packing square, packing on the angle, but it's a tough one.
So we're up towards halfway, and again England absorbing the pressure. Turnovers from the Australians.
No, mate.
Just take the heat off the opposition.
No one. On you guys there.
Turnovers pretty good in the first half by both sides. 6 to the Australians, 5 to England. Daniel Manu needs some more impact.
Well taken by Shaw off the top. Good charge by Greenstock. Stormed onto the ball there that time, the Wasp centre. Austin Healy. Oh, he was taken late there by Burke, just to upset his momentum. And it was carried over the goal line by the Australians. So a 5-metre scrum for England.
Well, here's a wake-up call for the Wallabies. Austin Healy gets past Manu. As mentioned earlier, a ton of pace, and Burke, lucky. Could have been a penalty, quite easily.
Well, that wasn't in the plan. Austin Healy wasn't supposed to do that, but now the tail's in the air, and still Paddy O'Brien, who's got his hands full trying to get a proper scrum pack. Really fighting for any advantage they can get.
Graham Roundtree, whose nickname is Weak on this side. So Austin Healy collared there by Robinson. England have still controlled it though. Catt's gone out to the right. Stimpson's keen to get in too. But the England forwards keep it off the ground. They can use their bulk here. 4 metres to go. Now we'll see the composure of this England forward pack. This is a real moment of truth for the Aussies. Some of the young England under-21 players, and also the reserves, their senior side.
Jack Brown giving his nod of approval.
Get it.
Well, both sides spoiling each other in the scrums. England, with the scrum feed there, have conceded the free kick.
Not listening, engagement. Must wait for me.
So the clearing kick doesn't offer much relief. It's still 20 metres out.
Yeah, it's a dark science, that front row play. Only they know what is going on out there.
Ancient language. Well, all will be revealed now that we've got to Mars.
Trouble is, no one will be listening up there, will they, Chris? Roundtree did well to Regan. Robertson the tackle with Manu. They try to hold him off the ground. Referee said it went to ground. But England just playing this game at their pace now. They're the ones holding onto the ball in this second half.
Yeah, let's watch there. Listen to me. Engage. Get it in half. Get it in.
Austin Healy. Good shot there from the Aussie 8. Rodbar. Taken by Robinson on the corner. Australians have slowed it down and they've won the ball. Knock on by England. Great tackle there by Brett Robinson. And that was against a huge back rower, Tim Rodber. Robinson hurt in the tackle here.
Great tackle here as Robinson just clings to him.
Number 4, Australia, Skipper.
Well, Brett Robinson certainly got a bit of a working over there from the England forwards. It's 8-3 Australia.
Paddy O'Brien, 6 scrum penalties or free kicks to date.
Get it in. Get it in.
Manu picks up. Gregan, 3-on-2. Burke's outside. Not a good pass. Gregan cleaned up well. Stimpson back for it. They're going to try and run it back at the Aussies here. Bentley wants a run.
Let it go.
Good tackle by Holbeck, halfway line.
Right here.
Healy. Catt. Back inside the corner. Down in the pressure zone.
Clever play by Mike Catt. Just keeping the pressure on the Wallabies by pinching some territory. They could have run this ball. Didn't have a lot of options. That defensive line came up from the green and gold jerseys and he just slotted one wide of Matt Burke.
They did have 4-on-3 there, Chris, but it just seems to be, you know, a mentality of the England team to take that first option of the kick.
He might be punting on a bad throw from Foley.
Joel, come down and White go down. Yeah, thank you.
Garrick Morgan. Throw was spot on from Foley.
Stay there. Stay there.
A bit hard on him there, Simon. 18 metres out.
I want it. Yeah, keep it going. Keep it going. Oh, yes, we'll go.
Good drive here by the Australian forwards.
Let it go.
Matthew Burke. Really looking for some good distance. He hasn't got the touch. This is Beale. He'd love a run. Brett Robinson, a great tackle up there in the first line for Australia. Again, Robinson has forced the error there. Nick Beale didn't release in the tackle.
Not negotiable, go away.
Beale didn't give his team many options. Took the ball in and then got a little bit concerned about where he was in no man's land. And just hung on waiting for people to come, and
Hold there.
the referee was right on top of it.
So we're now 18 metres out from the England goal line. Australia cranking up the pressure here. 30 minutes to go in the game. 8 plays 3. Michael Foley to throw here to either John Eales, number 4. They've got it well. Horan. This is Little. Got through Greenstock. The Australians cough it up. Well, very good defence. And Australia penalised for some indiscipline.
Greenstock went on the tour to Argentina and really making a big impression on the English side. Big lad, 97 kilos. He's only played 2 test matches.
Yes, the tall centre was England's Young Player of the Year in 1995, but Catt has taken play to within 6 metres of the halfway line. England now with the throw. Mark Gregan, one of the Lions heroes, played in that match at Ellis Park last weekend. Simon Shaw. Catt. Greenstock. Catt on the loop. It's Bentley, 10 from halfway. Centre field. So the referee really not waiting for the ball to develop, just those few seconds longer, which might just give it a bit more rhythm. Perhaps there's a case to give it just a couple of seconds more,
particularly when he's having
to come out.
Yeah, particularly when he's having more of the trouble with the scrums, Gordon. It would suggest that you allow a little more leeway in general play.
Rodbar. Healy caught by Gregan. He was on the merry-go-round, and Gregan's strength trying to hold him up now when the forwards arrive. Robinson there, but England have it. To Glanville. Back to Catt. He got a good purchase on that one. Burke underneath. 15 from halfway. This one coming down. 35 metres out. Rock! just charging straight into an opponent there against Joe Robb. The crowd venting their feelings.
I'd like to see a replay of this one. Joe Robb, he's going for the ball.
Yeah, that's a pretty tough call from the referee. Robb had his eyes on the ball all the way. He's entitled to jump for it like that. The referee has judged he's taken out the England defender.
Greg Smith looking remarkably relaxed, and believe it or not, he was relaxed then.
Tim Rodman. What a star. Lawrence Delalio behind him. Number 6. Robb is in everything. Graham Roundtree now. Garforth supports with Delalio. 10-metre line, Australian territory. Austin Healy. It's Catt working it to Bentley. Strong man. Jason Little stayed with him. Healy again now to Catt. Delalio. Good hands from England. Greenstock. Finally they get the ball into a bit of space out wide. And what a kick! A metre out from the goal line. So some good hands there from Lawrence Delalio standing out in midfield. Quick hands, good skills from the big man.
They're just taking advantage of every opportunity that come their way, England, and rolling that ball in. Not creating a lot because they're not so well organised, but really denying Australia the ball and taking their space.
Jack Rowell's happy. Why wouldn't he be? This is their chance. Eales. Superb leap from the Aussie skipper. They try to break out. 5 metres from the goal line. Now Burke. No touch. Bentley. He can have a go. Burke through. Thumping tackle there by Tim Horan. Aussie's careful to stay on side here. Plenty of cover. Delalio straight into Robb. England set it up on the quarter. Centre field. Only one try in the game. Stimpson taken low by Horan. Good control again from the men in whites. Catt. Drop goal. Not a bad strike. It's a good one. Mike Catt brings England to within 2 after 15 minutes of the second half. Great pressure, great build-up.
Don't think English fly halves love a drop goal. Rob Andrew in 1995. Mike Catt. The years they've been putting him over. Australians need to get this roll going the second half, otherwise it could be very embarrassing.
Well, that a lot easier than Rob Andrews, but still as decisive as Troy Coker comes back on the field with his hands strapped, and David Wilson off again.
Well, England have had most of the possession in their second half. The Australians have got up into the attacking zone but have spoilt themselves. A knock on by England here. Here's a chance. Horan. Pass was a bit too high, but no advantage there for the Australians. Scrum feed.
Yeah, possession in the second half. The ruck and maul count now swinging England's way at 13-2.
Look as though they need the Wallabies a dose of George Way's supposed elephant juice. Got to fire up.
Horan and Holbeck. Very predictable stuff there from the Australians. They're just lacking cohesion. Remember, you've got a new centre pairing. Horan and Holbeck playing together for the first time. And Australia have been picked off in midfield by the England defence. And they've earned a penalty. Just too slow through the hands. That's the problem. Australians standing flat and wide, and they were sitting ducks.
Hold on. Yeah, you're right. When you're ready.
8 metres from halfway. Mike Catt with a short touch finder. 26 metres out.
Well, the pressure's unrelenting in the second half on the green and golds. Mark Gregan lines up. Rob has won a lot of quality possession for the English line-out. Simon Shaw's a great option also.
Well, Chris, the way this is shaping, tactical substitutes in the last quarter of the game are going to be crucial here for Australia.
No doubt about that, with a couple of tiring players out there and not firing.
There's Cameron Blades having a go. 15 from halfway. That's Foley. Australia now going up a gear. That's Garrick Morgan. Over halfway. Big cut out there. Matthew Burke making it into England territory. Horan still going. We've seen some excellent defence from the England forwards tonight around the fringes. Gregan. Matthew Burke. Picked up by Eales. Crunching defence from Delalio. Australia going ahead. It was on the ground. Attacking scrum. 35 metres out. Australia 8-6.
George Gregan appealing to Paddy O'Brien. There's the ball lay in front of him.
He will blow this one up as they tried to bring Burke back to inject something in. And Eales gets stopped here and can't get around. He's turned very well by Simon Shaw.
He's a huge man, Simon Shaw. He's Manu. Straight into Catt, who took him. But he made ground. Gregan now. Horan spots a gap. Taken by Delalio. Didn't put him on the ground. Gregan in for the tackle. Here's Australia's chance. Little. Burke's in. He was caught by Beale. Back there for Foley and Gregan. Little's out there. Little spots a gap. Robinson arrives. 15 metres out. Ball control needed now. That's Ewan McKenzie. The Wallabies crank it up here. Horan. Tune. He did it. A stutter step. Change of pace. And the deadlock is broken.
At last, some variation in the Australian game. It started with a cut-out pass back on halfway, which we haven't seen too much of during the whole game. Mixing it up, Jason Little showing his skills, trying to get through a gap. Tim Horan the same thing, but finally the determination of Ben Tune. And he accelerates past the semi-goose step. And isn't he happy?
You just wonder why we haven't seen the ball out wide more often in this game. They've continued to take it up centre field, turn it back inside, and we've had great playmakers like this languishing without ball. I'm sure Pat Howard sitting at home would love to have seen that one.
Yes, Pat Howard, as you say, Chris, with an operation on his leg. He has a plate now on his fibula and a screw in his ankle. Dr. Peter Myers operating earlier in the week, but he hopes to be back for the Wallaby Tour of South Africa, of Argentina, I should say. So Ben Tune, man of the match against France here at the Sydney Football Stadium in the first test. Will that be the game breaker? Australia out by 7. Can Burke make it 9? Crowd's happy. That really was a super strike from Matthew Burke, and suddenly the Wallabies skip clear by 15-6. Scoreboard showing 15 points to 6. So 18 minutes of play plus injuries for England. Can they respond? That's Greenstock. Gregan the tackler. We've seen some crucial tackles from the Australians tonight. Have they turned it over? Manu. The Wallabies have really livened things up. This is Horan. He's beaten 4. Great little dart by Horan. Halfway line now. Here's Gregan and Burke. Delalio got him. Good pass, Tune. Fullback to beat Stimpson. Gregan! That's where he tackled Jeff Wilson in 1994. This time, he has the ball and he gets the try. Ben Tune again.
Well, the guys are back to 100% focus now. Ben Tune, come on down. What an excellent break up the sideline. But the forwards created the initial momentum. Horan ducked through, and then look at that pass from Matthew Burke. Tune. Good vision inside. And as always, Georgie Gregan steaming along on the inside, gets across.
Manu and Coker have provided plenty of go-forward centre field for the Wallabies. But this guy knows only one way, straight and hard. Gregan is very comfortable on the inside. In defence, he's been good. That try, sensational.
Third test try to George Gregan, and the crowd comes alive. They've been waiting patiently for a Wallaby explosion. It arrived in the 20th minute of the second term. Ben Tune in the thick of it both times. And now Burke, 5 metres in from this touch. Can he make it 2 out of 2? And he was pretty angry with himself, but 20 points to 6. England now trailing by 2 converted tries.
Might have been a bit worried about that position of that kick. It's actually where he hurt his groin back about 3 weeks. Stubbed the ground. Great attendance here tonight, 40,132.
Terrific response. Will the Wallabies really go on with it now? England players starting to look just a little jaded. The majority arrived back from South Africa on Tuesday. Gregan now. This is Burke. Look at the speed. He's worrying the England defence. Able to beat players on the outside. Horan. Back to Morgan. Garrick Morgan. That's his best run. Gregan. Horan. Big cutout pass to Little in space. Tune again. Good tackle by Roundtree. Australia keep it alive. The hands do the work here. Manu. Stimpson in front. Fullback. Not a great pass there from Manu. The try was lost.
James Holbeck's put in some amazing passes for the ACT Brumbies this year, but that one just a bit too tough. Manu careers up the sideline, and he just skips it out of his hand as Mackenzie leaves the field and Andrew Blades comes on.
Well, it looks as though the England petrol tank is looking a bit thin at the moment. The Australians starting to find plenty of gaps. Fed in by Healy. Wallabies have upped the tempo. Here's Catt. Stimpson. Big raking kick downfield. And they're 37 metres out, but really the England backs haven't threatened in this game.
That Tim Stimpson kick gets them out of the danger zone, but the ball comes back to the Australian side.
Great high pictures of that, the long kick, but it seems to be their rare and only attacking weapon to deny Australia territory. But in hand, they are not terribly comfortable with the ball.
Australian line-out drives ahead. And against England for spoiling there, pulling the ball down. And you have to say these England forwards are looking tired. It's been a huge ask for them. They're starting to fall off their tackles. And Burke with a low trajectory. Now into England territory.
Australians opt for a short line out. Manu back with the back line. Slipping in behind Tim Horan. Nice green addition to Michael Foley's forward.
Wallabies look as though they want to go for the jugular here. Eales. Here's Gregan. Great pass there to Roth. He was able to draw the defender, but Roth couldn't just hook it back infield.
Frustration in Joe Roth. Still not back up to peak. There's big Ben Clark prepares to hit the track for England.
England scrum holds well. Catt. Big land ball. Greenstock. Bentley trying to get involved. He really needs just a little bit of space to cause problems, but England crabbing across field. Mike Catt again. Great work by Redmond. There's a knock-on by the Glanville. Wasn't a very good pass at the feet of the England skipper.
Number 7, White.
And Richie Hill appears to be the player coming off as Ben Clark goes on the field. They've just made a meal of it again, England, when they had the opportunity to advance the ball.
So Richard Hill from Saracens, Michael Leiter's club, Francois Pina's club. He's the new coach of Saracens. He certainly had a magnificent series in the first 2 tests against the Box. And really signs of frustration and tiredness now for this Lion scrum.
See the discipline here from the Australians against New Zealand last week. Probably took too many quick taps, had to go through that very heavy New Zealand defence this time. Get the easy territory with the kick, into the line out, should win the ball, drive it on.
Well, we have the Blades brothers on the field, Chris, Cameron and Andrew, and hasn't Cameron Blades had a splendid test of do here at the Sydney Football Stadium?
It's a long way to go, Gordon, but yes, it's a start. Plugged away, very workmanlike. Changing every minute as that ball drops into no man's land.
Morgan into run bar. Like it goes to Cameron Blades again. Eales now going into rip. Morgan rolling it. Garforth the tackler with Gregan. Gregan. Hold back. June. Delalio waiting for him. Foley into rip it. On the quarter centre field. England hold on. Australia edge ahead. They held him off the ground. Horan now. Caught by Catt. Gregan. Jason Little and hold back. Burke. Stimpson. Well, we have 10 minutes remaining in the game. England trailing by 14 points. They're not prepared to chance their arm. Here's Joe Robb. He can. June. Just couldn't step out of the tackle. Great mobility there from round 3, the Leicester prop, to save the day for England and force a scrum feed. To Glanville hobbling. So the score here at the stadium, Australia ahead of England by 20 points to 6. That scrum base manoeuvre. Supported by Delalio. Catt now. Man taken away out the ball there. Gregan went in. Puka. Delalio ahead. Good tackle by Delalio. Hold back. He ran into Shaw. England's defence is sticking to it, but it looks to be a matter of time now if the Wallabies can keep it alive. No halfback. Gregan's in there. Redmond picked it up. Delalio wide to Greenstock. This is Beale. Good defence there from Jason Little. The ball's been alive for a long time here. Clark slipped it back. Catt. Shaw. Great tackle there by Robertson underneath. Just short of halfway. Healy. This is Delalio, Garrick Morgan and John Eales, the 2 locks. England won out that time. Now they have an opportunity. To Glanville. Good step from Beale. He's good on his feet, this guy. Beautiful support from Shaw and Redmond. He couldn't hold on. Knocked back. Now there was a little knock on. England's best passage of play. 37 metres out. Australia 26.
And that'll be testing out the big men. You can see Nigel Redmond heaving, and so have some of the Australians who've been brought forward and then out-distance. Everyone's sucking in the big ones.
So with this injury, Australia looking comfortable. They lead by 20 points to 6. A few minutes here tonight. It's slow and steady as she comes, but he's made a couple of little darts in the second half.
Go! Get out!
And against the Australian front row.
I didn't call you in. Get out.
So England, can they salvage something? Oh, big tackle there. Taken ahead by Garforth. Clark comes in for England. Around the fringes.
Number 4. Yes, obstruction.
The referee rules obstruction. A hard call there on the Englishman. He's wrong. Bentley across. So is Stimpson. Horan! Timmy Horan seals it. It came from nothing. And the Wallabies are home. They maintain their unbeaten record against the Englishmen here on Australian soil.
Really good judgment here by Joe Roff. Sees he was covered. Horan, who's got a ton of pace, back the inside, and George Gregan did extremely well to take the quick tap. Watch Roff. Slipstream, in comes Horan. And bang, up the points go.
Well, such is the respect they had for this guy. When he balanced himself to look inside, they weren't going to trust that he wouldn't keep going on his own. But Tim Horan just flying out of nowhere in support, able to continue it on.
So Matthew Burke now has 1 from 3, but the Australians have this game safely in their keeping with just over 5 minutes remaining. 4 tries to 0. Troy Coker has departed after having a spell in the sin bin before half-time.
Sin bin or blood bin?
Blood bin. Sin bin's the Tri-Nations, isn't it? So John Eales juggles it. Ten from halfway. England told not to handle it there. Here's Horan again. Kicking deep for territory here, putting it in behind Stimpson. Well, we haven't seen much at all from England. And look at the Australian defence smother. The England forwards, their tight forwards, caught well out of position here. Big chance for the Aussies. Get it wide's the answer here. Morgan and Gregan. What a performance tonight from George Gregan. And Mike Catt in the last line. Attacking line out. 25-6, the Wallabies lead. 4.5 to go.
David Wilson had done a super job far side to steal this ball back and just kept advancing it. George Gregan put him under pressure. Australia with a line out here. Another great opportunity.
Again going for the split. Watch Eales move back.
John Eales. They'll keep it off the ground here. Morgan. He's all over one of the England forwards. And it's a penalty against England there for getting into a situation where they have forced that ball to come down. Australia opts for the scrum instead of the penalty here.
Now this is where they've got to finish and finish well. Andrew Blade's the new man on this side of the scrum. He's got to be able to stay down and keep it advancing. This is the toughest side of the scrum. Take it forward evenly on.
The Aussie scrum is wheels. They control it at the back. Now the backs join it. England in trouble here. Manu. England regroup. Gregan's there at the back. So is David Wilson and Holbeck. Morgan now. Garrick Morgan. But he went into his own players in front, putting them offside. Catt. Greenstock. Can they have a breakout here?
He's okay.
Ball was out off the ground. Australia come through and steal it again.
White went forward.
Did the Australians retire 10 metres from that penalty?
I think actually did a pretty good job. John Eales moved back and took the side with him. David Wilson's had a good game. The stints he's had on the field.
I think they're just looking to rest Wilson a little bit, give him a chance to get over a couple of nagging injuries. But when he's come on, he's been very focused.
So just over a couple of minutes remaining against the Australians for taking it down. England now, Greenstock. They just haven't been able to get through that last line. Delalio, who's tried valiantly tonight for England. Greenstock again. Linking up with Catt. He's through. 4-on-2 here for England, and Catt kicks. Taken away by June. He really had to look for outside men. Now Australia counter. Gregan, and they could punish too. Here's Joe Robb. Beale in front. The big bend. And a great tackle there from Beale, but Rock kept it in play. Australia lose ahead. A minute and a half to go.
My Catt, was the chip ahead the right way to go? I don't think so. Ball comes wide. Back on the inside was the go.
Hold up. No.
There were white jerseys everywhere, inside and outside. And Australia was on the rack. Easy to make judgments from up here, though. Rodber. Back for Healy. Cut out now to the Glanville. Bentley. Ross stuck to him like a blue healer. Beale's across from the other wing. Some of these England forwards are walking now. A couple of them standing out here in midfield. Healy. Great pass. And a foot into touch. Bad luck for Nick Greenstock. That would have been England's consolation try. Well, the crowd not convinced that they were in touch there. But they were right.
Most definitely down that side, but they did give it a fair shake.
Crowd counting down. Just a couple of seconds to go. There's the hooter. This looks to be the last set piece. Australia won by 40 to 15 back in 1991, so this is not the biggest margin, but 19 points is handsome. But a lot of anxious moments for the Wallabies tonight, but they will take a lot of confidence out of this performance. Sloppy work in midfield. England still looking for their consolation try. Rodber has been one of England's best. Robinson goes in to spoil. So we're well past the full-time hooter. The next stoppage will see the referee blow it up. Bentley out wide. Horan. Bentley. Horan got there. And that is it, I would think. No, it's not. Yes, it is. Paddy O'Brien says, time is up. The crowd stands here and applauds the Australian team. Greg Smith, a relief man. The Wallabies really had to tough it out in that second half before kicking clear in the last quarter. 25-6, the final score. 3 second half tries in that last quarter of the game by Ben June, George Gregan, and then Tim Horan. But a valiant effort by the England side. It was always going to be a very difficult ask for them, Simon. The team really only assembling on Tuesday.
Yeah, good team on paper, but disjointed tonight. Did outstandingly well in the first half in defence. In the second half, the Australians got focused, got the ball wide and scored some very good tries. A confidence booster for the big one in 2 weeks' time in Melbourne.
Nice touch there with John Bentley and Joe Rock. And Tim Rodber and George Gregan, two of the star performers out there on the field. But John Eales, the Wallaby captain, I would think a happy man again. They weren't smiling after the match last week. Let's go down to Chris Handy.
John, it's nice to see a smile back on your face.
Yeah, it's good. Like we certainly struggled for parts of that. We didn't convert all our points, but yeah, it was good that we ended up with that good win at the end.
Any explanation for the slow start?
Well, England defended very well, which certainly contributed to it. but I think that at times we just should have kept the ball a bit more and tried to keep it up off the ground a bit more, particularly early.
I think we solved the problems, and next week will be another day in Melbourne.
Well, we're a further step down the track. It's important we just keep building on that. It's going to be a great challenge in Melbourne for everyone on the team. Looking forward to it.
Thanks for that. I'll let you go and enjoy the moment.
Thanks, Chris.
Philip de Glanville, a difficult call coming here with a team that didn't have much time together. We're pleased with how the lads went.
Oh, not really, no. I mean, we defended very well in the first half. I mean, to turn around 8-3 down or whatever we were at half-time was superb. But a couple of lapses, in the second half, and myself missed a tackle. And that was it, it's game over. And then they scored a try, at the death there, really, from a loose kick. Well deserved.
You seen the All Blacks play Australia. What did you think of the performance?
By the All Blacks or by Australia?
By Australia.
Oh, I thought they played well in the second half. I mean, they've had a lot of stick in the press this week, and they played well in the second half against the Blacks. Everyone says the Blacks led up, but the Aussies took it to them. They'll be a tough side.
Thanks, Phil, and congratulations.
Yeah, cheers.
Yes, disappointment there for Phil de Glanville. Australia running out winners here at the stadium by 25-6. We'll be back to wrap up after the break. Yes, Australia leading 8-3 at half-time. George Gregan getting one of 3 second-half tries. And Australia running out winners by 25 points to 6. Let's now go down to Chris Handy with the Port Australia Man of the Match.
George Gregan, a man of the match performance. Were you pleased with it?
Yeah, it was a very good effort by the team. We had a lot to play for after last week's performance, and the urgency was there, and I think it was just a matter of staying at it, and the points came in the second half. It was a good win.
Try in your favourite corner. That must have pleased you.
Yeah, it's nice to score tries, mate, at the best of times, but I just chased Tunie. I think if you're going to chase Tunie, most of the time you need a try.
Well, you're the Ford of Australia Man of the Match, and we have David Morgan, as usual, from Ford Australia here to present the trophy.
George, congratulations on a tremendous game. It really was.
Thanks very much, David, and thank Ford for the sponsorship. It's great award.
Very good.
Cheers, and hope another one in Melbourne, George.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a great occasion, a big game. Looking forward to it.
Yes, well, the Australians have now completed a grand slam of the home nations in France. Simon, the IBM stats.
Yep, they dominated the possession out there, and plenty of ball used by the fly halves on both sides. Made for a good game.
And don't forget the big telecast from South Africa next week. Next week, South Africa and New Zealand from Ellis Park.